This is Travis Wayne Goodsell, and this is the introduction for the new video series that I will be working on. In April 1997, my first wife abandoned the marriage, took our kids away from me. She did not get permission from the law. She got permission from the church. She got permission from my family. She didn't get permission from me. The laws of the land does not consider that a crime. And I was extorted to pay the ransom money with no guarantee that I'd ever see my kids again, and I haven't. And on February 1st, 2019, the state of Utah got involved in taking away my second wife. And so the gloves are off. The church is going down. And this video series will present to you what a true LDS Mormon church president, prophet, seer, revelator, and the neglected translator would do. But as you know, none of them have. So the abuse is going to stop, Mormons. If you guys won't change your heart, change your ways, then you're going to be exposed. And no YouTube Mormon employee is going to stop it. No abusive comments from Mormons is going to stop it. No thumbs down is going to stop it. You guys have seen my videos. You know I can destroy the church because it's not of God. And you remember the Book of Mormon. Or actually, it's the Doctrine and Covenants. Sorry. Contend against no church, but the church of the devil. Church is going down. It's on. Alright, I've exposed the church as being involved in priestcraft. I've exposed the church as not receiving any kind of revelation, any kind of prophecy, any kind of predictions, interpretations of the signs in the heavens in the last days. And I've demonstrated that we have the brass plates. We have the stick of Joseph. It's there. It's physical. You can all see it. You know, Joseph Smith? No, nobody gets to see it except for a few select people. And then finally, we have Christopher in our day, who I mistakenly thought was Denver Snuffer. Denver Snuffer is a different guy who's just come up with his own revelations and has taken away a few thousand members of the church. But Christopher is the guy I was wanting to refer to. He's the guy who created the sealed portion translation. And so, yeah, but I have the brass plates. They're not in plate form, but I have them. They're in papyri, just like the papyri of Joseph that Joseph Smith claimed. You know, the Book of Abraham. He also said there was the Book of Joseph. That's the stick of Joseph from Ezekiel 37 that you all memorize for scripture mastery. It's here. It's available. I've shown it to you. I'll show it to you again. Let's see, that's Abraham. There it is. See? Book of Joseph. This is the papyrus that Joseph Smith used, and I did the video with the thumbnail of that picture. Everybody has access to it. So it's not some fraud scam thing. It's here. It's available. And the presidents of the church have never translated it. And the reason why is because they're not authorized to do so. They're the presidents of the church who are supposed to be seers, which according to Ammon and the king that he's talking with, I point out that, oh, okay, a seer can translate ancient records that no one else can decipher. Oh, okay, take me to him. We have plates that need to be translated about the people of Ether, the Jaredites. We have it. It's here. And they're not doing anything with it. But guess who is? Oh, me. I am. Pick me. Pick me. Yes, I've done the videos. Go to the videos. See for yourself. I show you how they are the same as the book of Judah. The Torah stories directly come from the Egyptian stories, meaning the book of Joseph is from Egyptian, just like the brass plates from Egyptian, in the Egyptian language. It's in the Book of Mormon, guys. You should have known this. You should have been the leaders in Egyptology. But Joseph Smith was murdered. Brigham Young took a group into the wilderness. And I recommend you reread Matthew 24 about false prophets taking people into the wilderness and claiming to be the Messiah. Mormons, Mormons, Mormons. I have destroyed the church. Destroyed it. Regardless of whether you believe or not, it's destroyed. It has no foundation, because its foundation is sand. And the wise man builds his house upon a rock, not upon sand. Because when the rains come down and the floods come up, the house is gone. The Mormon house is gone. As the floodwaters, again, Matthew 24, what does he liken the second coming to? The flood story. And all those who built their house upon sand will be destroyed. And so those of you who are Mormon, who still haven't left, guess what house you're building your house on? Guess what foundation you're building your house on? That's right, sand. And yet you rage against me. And why do you rage against me? Well, in the movie Ghostbusters, which I'm sure you've all seen because it was PG at that time, I'm sure it would have been given a PG-13 rating had it not been for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom causing a change in the rating system. Kalima Shakti. And so, in the movie Ghostbusters, is it Dozer? Yeah, I think they call him Dozer, or she Dozer. I can't remember. But the great Mesopotamian god that comes to wreak havoc on New York City tells the Ghostbusters that they get to choose the form of their destroyer. And thus emerged the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Great show. Classic. And so, what does Bill Murray's character do, Peter Venkman? he suggests, hey, he's a sailor. This is New York. Get him laid and everything's fine. He's not far off. When I was working at the Beehive Clothing for the church, the day after Valentine's Day, which I guess I was, I don't remember which day of the week it was, but the day after Valentine's Day, we were back to work. And I can't remember the guy's name. He was the Polynesian warehouse crew member, and he was known for being slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race, and he never caused problems, was a good hard worker, but he was slow. He took his time. He didn't rush things. Except the day after Valentine's Day. He was going fast. What's going on? Yes, the day after Valentine's Day, he was going fast at work. And not just him, others at work. You know, the human resource lady. She was known as the Dragon Lady. She was mean to everybody. She was grouchy. She was ornery to everybody, her co-workers, her employees, other people in other departments. She was mean. Except the day after Valentine's Day. It was the weirdest phenomenon I'd ever seen. And so, yes, Mormons who are getting angry and grumpy and grouchy over my videos of destroying the church, guess what you need? All you need is love. Bum, ba, da, da, da. All you need is love. Love. That's right. There's sexual repression here in Utah. This is the cause of the abuse. This is the cause of the anger. This is the cause of the violence, domestic violence. It's on the rise here in Utah. And yet, instead of solving the problem, Utah clamps down. We will teach abstinence. You cannot have sex. Sex is a 4-letter word, even though it's spelled with 3 letters. It's now 4. Poor little Maudie, sweet little Mormon girl that I worked with at the distribution center. She seriously believed she could not say the word sex. She thought it was a bad word, a 4-letter word. 4-letter word. She didn't understand that it's spelled with 3 letters. Seriously. This is how innocent and naive she was. But she would have been a great person to be married to, and whoever did get to marry her, you're the luckiest guy on the face of the earth, because I know some of the things she wanted to do as a wife and mother. And so, you know, come on, Mormons. Stop. Start loving. It's that simple. But what do we do about corrupt leaders? How do we get rid of corrupt leaders? Because apparently they don't behave after having sex, as we see with our current president, who pays them off. And so, yeah, King David, he too turned bad after having sex. So it's not a cure-all for those in positions of power. Interestingly, the Fleetwood Mac has a song about leaders and their sexual ability. I can't remember the song, but yeah. All right, let's see. be in Mosiah. No. King, is it wicked? I'm gonna have to search here for a minute. Oh, yep, 29. Yep, 29. Okay, King Mosiah has given up his throne. This is Book of Mormon study time. So, in verse 16, now I say unto you that because all men are not just, it is not expedient that ye should have a king or kings to rule over you. Here it is, Mormons. You were warned in the Book of Mormon, do not place a king on the throne of the United States. Oops! You allowed the changing of the laws of the Constitution, the Gadianton robbers changing the laws of Mosiah, so that a king could be put on the throne. Now, we didn't vote for a king, except in Utah, but he was placed thereon by the enemy. Let's see. For behold, how much iniquity doth one wicked king cause to be committed, yea, and what great destruction. Are you familiar with the Environmental Protection Agency laws that have been done away with, so that our environment is again in full force of pollution, polluting the air, polluting the sea, polluting the land, and poisoning the people because of the poisonings of the land, the pollutions of the land. This has skyrocketed under Trump. That's the great destruction. And not to mention the earth countering by over-adjustment. That's how the earth functions. When mankind drastically alters the environment, Mother Nature fights back in full vengeance. And thus, the record-breaking hurricanes under Trump, the record-breaking cold, the polar vortex, I think they called it, and the cyclone bombs that we've had the last couple of years, the previous 2 years. We're not having one this year, apparently. We had the polar vortex instead. You know, these are what happens when you destroy the environment. Mother Nature reacts. And the more you destroy the environment, the greater the reaction of Mother Nature. And so, yeah, just look at the Dust Bowl here in America. We destroyed the land through over-farming, and Mother Nature responded with a Dust Bowl. And we had dust storms that destroyed the land. And I think it was ginseng that was able to restore the soil. I can't remember exactly, but I think it was ginseng. Okay, so continuing. Yea, remember King Noah. Yes, let's remember King Noah. Who was King Noah? Oh, okay, yeah, the people of Zenith. Zenith was the leader of a group that decided we don't want to belong to the main body of the Nephites. We want to go back to Nephi, and reclaim our inheritance. And so they get there, and they find it, and then the Lamanites recognize that Nephites are in the land, and they submit them into slavery and bondage and tribute in order to stay in the land of Nephi. And so under Zenith, they were allowed, but there were times where the Lamanites got severe in their bondage and requiring greater and greater tribute, because the Lamanites need to eat. They need food too, guys. Is it Bug's Life or is it the movie Ants? I think it's Bug's Life, where the bugs had to give tribute to the locusts, was it? The evil locusts? And the inventor bug had found a new way of harvesting so that he can get a greater amount of harvest, but the evil crickets, or I can't remember what they're call them, but they demanded greater tribute because of not providing tribute for them. So yeah, slavery and bondage. And that's what Trump has done with the government shutdown. He has forced people to work without pay. And so King Noah comes along after Zenith dies, Noah being the birthright blessing son of Zenith, so that it's his birthright to take over as king. And Noah decides, I'm getting all new priests. I don't care for the counsel of these priests of my father. I'm getting all new ones. These are my buddies. And so, yes, he puts his friends in position of authority as priests. Guess what the LDS Church has done? You know, until recently, except for business interests, the majority of the apostles have all been from family. It's been a family organization. You'll be a part of the family. Make you an offer you can't refuse. Yes, that's right. Mormonism is a crime operation, a family business. It's a mafia, crime boss, gang, terrorist unit organization. And so that's exactly what King Noah did. And so Mormons, you were warned. Don't let this happen to the church, let alone the United States. Oops. And what does King Noah do? I don't have it up here. This is Mosiah, where he's saying, hey, remember King Noah and his wickedness, and how we couldn't get rid of him except from destruction by the Lamanites. But yeah, that's what's coming, guys, for the United States. And we can't get rid of Trump. Congress won't do it. The Supreme Court won't do it. The Department of Justice won't do it. Nobody can get rid of Trump. We have altered the laws of the Constitution to allow King George back on the throne. Remember, this nation was founded on rebellion against a kingdom. King. Monarchy. We were anti-monarchy. But since then, the Gadianton robbers have come into America, altered the Constitution, so that now crime is no longer a crime. And I'm a victim of that here in Utah. Crime is not a crime, therefore no crime was committed against me, therefore my petitioning for a redress of grievances is not justified, therefore I'm the criminal. That's how they work. That's how corruption works. They alter the laws so that victims become the criminals. And so, yeah, that's why victim blaming is so prevalent, and why BYU, until 2017, was blaming victims of rape. Women were blamed for being raped, and they would get excommunicated. They would get banned from BYU. They would be punished for being raped. Oh, well, you weren't wearing a collared shirt, therefore you were immodest, and therefore you brought it upon yourself. That's the logic that people have. My own white supremacist mother didn't want me leaving the home without wearing a belt on my Levi's jeans. She seriously thought I would be naked without a belt. That's how severe the ignorance in regards to sexuality is here in Utah. Because my own mother is a perfect example of it. And so yeah, I didn't get sex ed by my dad. I still remember the few seconds that one night where my sisters got graphic detail by my mother about men. But my dad, nope. You guys are at the age now where you guys are going to have dreams, and so if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Okay, well, that was good talk. You guys have a good night. That was it. Literally, that was it. See, my brother was all eager and anxious. Please, Dad, tell me more. And he didn't. He left us hanging. And so, yes, my education had to be from movies like Ghostbusters. Can't remember the name of the librarian, but back off, man, I'm a scientist. Oh, great times. Okay, so yeah, King Noah was a bad guy. And why was he a bad guy? Because he was a polygamist. Did you catch that in the story, guys? Mormons. He was a polygamist. Wives and concubines for him and his priests. Polygamist. Did you catch that, Mormons? Because nobody else is catching that. Critics are siding with the church as if the church is finally telling the truth that it was Joseph Smith. No, it was Brigham Young. Brigham Young is King Noah. And so, yeah, everybody misses that. Joseph was anti-polygamy. He didn't change right before he died. And documents emerges after he died. Oh, look, we found this document by Joseph saying he intended to have polygamy. No! No! Have you ever heard of fraudulent documents? You know, Mark Hoffman? Salamander letter? Ring any bells? And so, yeah, King Noah, his wickedness and his abominations, and also the wickedness and abominations of his people. Here it is, Mormons. This is why you are so abusive, why you are so angry, why you are attacking me on my YouTube channel. Because of the wickedness of the church presidents, of whom you then believe you can be wicked. Right here in the Book of Mormon, this is how it works. The captain always goes down with the ship. If the Mormons are corrupt, if the Mormons are wicked, if the Mormons are threatening my life on my YouTube channel, if Mormons are putting thumbs down on these videos, guess what? That's because of the wickedness of the presidents of the church, the prophets of the church. This is it. This is the precepts of the Book of Mormon, which every one of you Mormons get up on the pulpit. And yes, today you will be getting up at the pulpit and you will hear person after person after person after person say, like the Rameumptom, the rote prayer of the Rameumptom, I know the Book of Mormon is true. Bring your notepad to church and tally up the number of people who do it. You know this is what happens. You believe the Book of Mormon, yet you will not believe this from the Book of Mormon. That's hypocrisy. You are hypocrites. And so, behold, what great destruction will come upon you. So yes, did come upon them is the actual wording here. And also because of their iniquities, they were brought into bondage. We are in bondage now. Did you know? Did you watch my video on ransom economy? No, you didn't. And were it not for the interposition of the all-wise creator, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Let's get to the specifics here. Okay. And behold, in 21, now I say unto you, you cannot dethrone an iniquitous king. And I'm going to put in president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You cannot dethrone an iniquitous president, church president, save it be through much contention. Well, contention is of the devil. Fight against no church but the church of the devil. Contend against no church but the church of the devil. And the shedding of much blood. Guess what the church did in the midterms? You, the Mormons, voted for medical marijuana to save the lives of those who are sick and afflicted, who would benefit and have prolonged lives with medical marijuana. And what did the church do? They stepped in and interfered, forcing the legislature, whom they control, because they put their people in positions. Just like changing the priests that King Noah did. For behold, in 22, he has his friends in iniquity. And I mentioned in the other video the reporting of 444 Age, I think it is, Paul. I think his last name's Adams, but he goes by the channel name of 444 Age. He's reported that every new prophet who gets called into the 12 apostles is put in iniquity. They are bribed to silence. They are compromised once they become prophet. We're making you a prophet, so we expect you to accept this $1 million payoff, to remain silent and compliant. And so that's how you keep friends in iniquity. That's the compromat of the Russian mafia, of Putin. You want to do business in Russia? You take this money. We have it laundered through your LLC companies. That you receive $32 billion, as reported by Max Roth from Fox 13 News Utah. And you launder it through the stock market, keeping their friends in iniquity, getting compromat on them to ensure that they won't turn against you. Because otherwise you can say, hey, remember that money you took? Well, that takes you down with us. So you can't report on us, otherwise you go down too. And he keepeth his guards about him. Did you know that the president of the church has armed security? He teareth up the laws of those who have reigned in righteousness before him. You familiar with the Adam God theory? Yeah, Brigham Young. Adam is Heavenly Father, according to Brigham Young. And then the Mormon conundrum is, well, wait a minute. If God is leading the church, and God revealed himself to Joseph Smith, but then Brigham Young alters the nature and character of God, but then later Presidents Kimball and Hinckley denounced Brigham Young, who's God? Who's the God we're supposed to follow? Sorry, Mormons, church ain't true. And so, yes, the doctrines of the church are the laws of the church. And we no longer have the original doctrines, because you guys are using evangelical doctrines now. You allowed evangelicals and their doctrines and their influence to infiltrate the church. Now, I know this because of my own mother, the alt-right white supremacist that she was as a Mormon, who'd gone on a mission herself. She would watch Billy Graham. Oh, I like his doctrines. A lot of the stuff he says is true. Oh, excuse me, Mom? I remember this thing called the First Vision in our canon scripture that says that no other religion on earth was true. What are you doing then? Oh, well, we need to take the good from the world and embrace it. Uh-huh. Yeah, and alter the church as a result, and turn it into corruption. Gotcha. All right. And trampleth them under his feet, the commandments of God. And so, yeah, did you know that President Nelson is a polygamist? That's right. Well, his first wife died, but he's a polygamist. And Mormons, you guys get to be polygamous too. He keepeth his members in iniquity. When you get divorced from your temple sealing wife, the wife, guess what? She's still sealed to you. She can't get away from you. She wants nothing to do with you because you're an abusive husband. But the church won't let her go. She's kept in bondage to you through the sealing. Yeah, only when she finally gets another man to agree to marry her does she get to apply for permission to get married in the temple to this other man. Yeah, the church isn't abusive to women. They let them wear slacks now on their missions. We excommunicated the leader of the ordained women. What more do you women want? That's abuse, guys. And so he enacteth laws and sendeth them forth among his people, yea, laws after the manner of his own wickedness. Shall we go over the For Strength of Youth pamphlet? It's all about idol worship. I warned the church when it first came out. We were asked, hey, if you guys want to review this and if you have any comments or suggestions, we would love to hear from you. Yeah, I immediately said, hey, wait a minute. No, Benson did not say you can't watch R-rated movies. What? No, he did. No, look again. And remember, get a refresher course on your English grammar class. There's no period after don't watch R-rated movies. No period. Not there. Doesn't exist. He continues on to explain which type of R-rated movies to avoid. So the Mormon who I talked with, whose degree, her bachelor's, was in Amistad, that whole period, historical period. She knew all about Amistad. She knew of the corruption. She knew of the violence. She knew of the degradation. And so when Steven Spielberg, I think it was, who came out with the movie Amistad, she was so excited, but then they came out with the rating, and she was distraught. She was torn. She knew of the wickedness because she'd read about it. Yeah, it's different if you read it. No. Unbelievable. The first usage of the word pornography was not by the Greeks, who came up with the separate words porn and graph. No, It was in the late 1800s AD, and it was referring to a written document. And it had nothing to do with sex. It was just disagreeable, offensive to the person. So he created the word pornography. And then evangelicals, after getting thrashed in the courtrooms by being denied creationism to be taught in the school systems, they went on a full rage of anti-commandments. You know, don't make idols. Well, they went and made idols. They were banning all sorts of things, idols, objects, all calling it pornography. Evangelicals were on a rage. Everything was idol worship for them. And they were banning people from idol worship as well as encouraging idol worship. Because when you ban an object, you are creating an idol. You are fearing an object that has no power. That's idol worship. And evangelicals were the rage for that. And so, yeah, they changed the law of God. They violated the 10 Commandments. One about don't have idols. And thus they've influenced the church for Strength of the Youth, where they blame women for getting raped. Look it up. It has to do with modest clothing. And so now Mormon women are ashamed if they wear a bathing suit to a pool or to the lake or to the beach. Mormons are promoting body shaming. Shame on you. And whosoever doth not obey his laws, he causeth to be destroyed. And whosoever doth rebel against him, he will excommunicate them. He will send 2 high councilmen to present you with an order to appear before a church council. Here they say armies to war against them. This is what Trump will do when people are starving and rebelling. And it's going to come. He's already said it. He's going to shut down the government again. He'll declare a national emergency, which will be martial law. You know, everybody's saying, oh, you can't declare national emergency just so that you can fund the wall building. No, it has nothing to do with the wall, people. It's all distraction. He is going to destroy America. That was his campaign. The deep state is him. And if he can, he will destroy them. And thus an unrighteous church president doth pervert the ways of all righteousness. We already have the Articles of Faith. We already have the scriptures with the 10 Commandments. We know that the 10 Commandments and the Articles of Faith are all based on love. Remember? Oh, I tied it back together with love. Oh. Magical, isn't it? The great teacher. Yes, I've taught Mormons how to teach. Not just been a teacher. This is how you do it, people. So, yeah. But you guys can stand up against President Nelson and the church. He can't come after you to war. He can get his minions in the government to come after you like they did with me. Mark Shurtleff, ordered by the church to remove me from society for life. I'm not supposed to be here. It's a miracle that I'm here to warn you. But they considered me a rebel because I wanted my kids back. And now they've taken away my second wife. And like I said, gloves are off. I'm destroying the church now. Don't go to church today. It's 6 o'clock here in Utah, so it'll be around 7 o'clock when this gets uploaded. The leaders will be in their early morning meetings, so they will miss this. But you members, you don't go to church until 9 at the earliest. So, yeah, the guys on the East Coast, you guys will miss this. The first wave of church members, because it'll be 9 o'clock when I finally get this on YouTube, because this is 45 minutes. We need love in the church. That is what a true prophet of God would promote. A true prophet of God would not blame victims. He would not alter the commandments of God. He would not encourage and promote members to be abusive to their fellow man, to their neighbors. So yes, I understand, Mormons. It's not you. You're not to blame for your abusive comments on my channel. You're not to blame for the thumbs down on my channel. It's the leaders of the church who are to blame. Because I will contend against the church of the devil. Choose ye this day whom ye serve. Joshua,